This session will discuss the TCruise GIS Updater utility. This utility can be used to update volume information in a GIS stands layer in the attribute table. You can connect to all ESRI geodatabases, Access databases, and SQL. In TCruise, you can use the custom report designer under the report setup menu to design the outputs that will be inserted into the database. You can also set the path to the database in this window as well. In the TCruise Track Info screen, there's an Object ID field section where you can determine where the records will be updated. Okay, and lastly, if you use an ESRI database, the layer you're working with cannot be updated if it is in an edit session. So make sure you close out of that edit session before you run the updater utility. Okay, let's go through a couple of examples. Okay, here we have a map of the Smith tract, and notice that we've got three different stand polygons, or three different stand IDs in this particular project. And the stand ID is the field that we're going to key off of to be able to update the values. And here you can see I've got pine pulpwood, chip and saw, pine saw timber, poles, and so on, value per acre and cruise date. And we're going to use the update utility to populate these row by row. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, I'm going to go back to TCruise, and I'm going to open one of the TCruise documents that pertains to this particular track. Okay, so we're going to start off on this 4104-3, which corresponds to the stand ID on one of those records. Okay, from here, let's just take a look really quickly at the custom report design. This is the screen that was used to define the volume inputs. So here you can choose uh, what the summary line title is, and I use that very similar to what the data column. I'll use the summary line title name to match what's in the field in the attribute table. And then here's where you can choose which groups are going to be used to make that calculation. Like for pine saw timber, I used a multi-group select where I chose all of the pine species in this template, and I chose which product aggregation was going to be used. So for this one, just saw timber. And then here's where I define the table name from the attribute table, and here's the column name, and the text OID1 uh, column name or is actually the stand ID field in that attribute table. Okay, and then down here on the established database system connection, here's where I input the type of database I was connecting to and the path on my computer where that database or that geodatabase resides. Okay, so I hit OK out of here. All right, you can see for the different products, I won't go through how I did each one of those, but we can certainly help you design this table or update it over time if your needs change. Okay, so I'm going to OK out of here. Okay, so in TCruise, I'm going to go up to the track info screen. And I'm just going to verify that I have in the string OID1 text value, I'm going to use the same as my track name up here, 4104-3. Paste that in there, and then we'll hit OK. All right, now whenever I come up and I do a run by group, we'll save changes, yes. And it brings up my Excel reporting options because I have those enabled. I can just hit cancel here, and then there was no errors detected. So now we'll just go back and we'll check our GIS layer. Okay, here's my attribute table. If I close out of it and open it back up, I should see the changes. Another thing I can do is go over here to the table drop-down list, and I can go to reload cache, and here is my updated values for that particular stand. And these values here should match. If I were to go to page down through my reporting, you should see for the per acre units, these should match, like value per acre 696.8, 696.84 in the value per acre right there. Okay, so just a quick overview of how the GIS updater works.